50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
The Lotus Jawns, going through the journey strong. Life's a hustle and a bustle, we'll be with you all along. The Lotus Jawns, yeah, sometimes we get it wrong. That's the beauty and a lesson, keep it going, you belong. So you are a powerful Jawn. You are a powerful Jawn.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey,
Welcome,
John.
everyone, to the Lotus
Hi.
Jawns. We're live.
Hey. I'm a little nervous in real time. It's nice to see you
For
guys,
real.
though.
Yeah.
So it's nice to, I guess, officially be live on two platforms, Facebook and right now on YouTube. For those of you guys who've been following us and watching, our first 3 videos, we'd like to send out a massive shockwave of thank yous. And to kind of get things started in Lotus Jawn fashion, if you guys are ready, let's start off with our affirmation.
Ready? Deep breath.
Okay, ready.
Together we have the ability to reach the masses.
With a shockwave of information and love.
Your voice is important. Your message is sacred.
I am
I am a powerful
powerful
Jawn.
John.
And you are a powerful Jawn, too.
You are a powerful John too.
Y'all got to work with us, y'all. It's our first
Yeah.
time. So we're like getting this together.
Right.
We're really happy to be here today. And we're kind of switching things up. We got some different parts coming at you today. So like our little segment. So we're really excited to share that with you.
Yeah. So in Lotus Jawn fashion, since this is like the intro, this is our first real one. In case you guys are just tuning in and you don't know who we are, we're gonna start things off with the Lotus pad.
Tell you all about the Lotus pad and how we even came up with some of these ideas.
Yeah, so I guess in sequential order, like who are you guys?
Where do you want to start?
Yeah,
Start with you.
Start with me.
Yeah, see right up there in that top box,
Okay. All right. My name is Fazia Hart. I am hashtag the Creative Jawn. I do a lot of different things. I am a songwriter. I'm also a writer. I'm also a singer. I also do a little bit of design, in my own spare time. Yeah, I just do a lot of things that have to do with the arts and stuff like that. I feel like I bring the creative side to the Lotus Jawns as far as like how things look and just keeping us organized with my Virgo side too. I feel like I thought we needed to start the Lotus Jawns because I felt like it wasn't like a lot of representation of Black women talking about everyday things. And I thought that I could be the representation of the creative type, the people who are the artists, the painters, the writers, the videographers, the photographers, people like that. You know, we are out here doing this stuff, and we're making a way, and we're thriving. So yeah, that's one thing.
Thank you, Creative John.
Creative Jen.
I guess it was next. I
John.
am hashtag the mom John and Zinga the mom John. I'm the one with all the kids. So on top of being the one with all the children, I also had some experience as a preschool teacher. So I have this really cool view of, or I think I have this really cool view of little people. Like I get to see them at home, and then I get to see how children are in their learning environments. And getting a little tongue tied here. So I love the little people. A mom really hard. I like to share that my mom experiences with my Jones and my other friends. I want to share that with my community too. I want to share a lot of information. I also want to, it's a two-way street. I want to hear what you other Jones out there have to say about your motherhood experiences, your teachers' experiences, your experiences being a Black woman.
Awesome. Thank you, Mom Joan.
Hey, Medical John.
Okay. So I am the Medical John. I go by 3 different, sometimes 4 different attributes. But for this segment, I go by Leek or my aunt, or the Medical John. So my background is I've been a registered nurse for 10 years. I've also worked as a doula for close to 15. My passion is women's health, community health, and, just providing a holistic approach to health, wellness, and healthcare as a whole. I feel like just like my other Johns that, have had the opportunity to express themselves, that as a collective, there, even when I was in school, there wasn't a large representation of Black and brown women that I could look to as a mentor to give me insight into my path and road to nursing and medicine. So I felt like as a member of the Lotus Jawns, I could give that inspirational push to say, hey, no matter how difficult they say school is, you can do this. And even if you don't see yourself represented, in those environments, I'm here with you and you're not by yourself. So I have some other background in other areas, but my primary thing is medicine. So I am the Medical John. Okay, so hey, we're looking forward to meeting our individual Johns out there. Another thing that I guess we didn't actually say, John is a Philadelphia colloquialism, that's relatively popular for those that might not actually be from Philly. John is literally we put that John on everything. Literally put that John on everything. John can be a person, place, a thing, a car, a situation. That John was crazy. You don't know whether or not I'm talking about an experience, a sandwich, or
where you just came from.
Right. Right. But it is also a common term when referring to Johns like us. It's like, yo, that John over there, she hot. So we figured we would take the Philadelphia term John and just expand upon it, and kind of broaden it past Philly and let you guys know that no matter what capacity you're in, you are in fact a powerful John in the making. Hashtag powerful John.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what's up. I feel like the Lotus Pad was good. I enjoy hearing, you guys talk because I'm like.
So today we're kind of like all on the Lotus Pad, all the Jones on the Lotus Pad, but usually we kind of choose one of ourselves to be the Joan of the day. And that person is usually the one that we're kind of interviewing or leading the conversation on in our area of expertise. So the creative Joan would be, sharing her ideas and her information on everything creative. And then the medical Joan, of course, she has us with all the medical questions, concerns, and, anything that pops up in me. I'm like almost anything mom related, anything teacher related, anything family related. It's kind of my area of expertise. So usually the one in the middle is the person on the John on the Lotus page. And from time to time, we do have guest Johns who grace the Lotus page as well.
Yes.
So just figured I needed to explain that.
No, that was
And
great.
just to let you guys know, right now you can ask us questions. We're like here to answer
Me too.
questions today. So whenever you want to chime in, just let us know, and we'll interact with you.
Yeah. We're taking questions, suggestions, and recommendations because right now, since we're in our infancy, we're definitely about adding people onto the Lotus Jawns. So
Right.
if there's somebody local who's inspirational that you would like to see on our show or our platform, feel free to tag them in, because really, we would like to kind of broaden the Jawns, so that if there's a missing component of the Jawns that you feel like you need, we would like to sprinkle it in, so that all aspects of joining are covered.
All aspects of joining. I like that.
Put that on everything, okay?
All right, so that is us. That's the Lotus Jawns. We are the Lotus Jawns. And if you want to know anything else about us, like type a little comment below and let us know. But other than that, we're going to move into our next segment, which is catch up on everything.
Catch up on everything.
Here in Philly, we put catch up on a lot of things. So catch up on everything is a time that you catch up with the Lotus Jawns. You see what we've been doing, like what's been going on in our lives, because we want to get to know you, and we also want you to get to know us. So yeah, so we'll start off on what have we been up to, y'all? What have we been up to?
I mean, to put it all in a nutshell, I've been up to virtual schooling. I don't know about you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've been doing. Virtual schooling has taken over my life.
Yeah.
I'm in
expand on that, Ashley.
second grade and fifth simultaneously. And there's pros and cons in it. The pros are I get to spend more time with my children. I love them. The cons are, they're like this close to adoption. Some days. All of them. Not all of them.
Not to adoption, just rotation. I feel like you've been like, hey.
I mean, if any John wants to take them, just raise your hand now. Okay, I'll take that as enough.
Next week.
Well, yeah, it's just been for me. It's just been virtual schooling and trying to get our lives situated with that. Rona has completely changed the way our daily lives are going right now. Like the kids are home, they're doing their school all day long. And that's what I've been up to. I haven't lost it. So I'm doing good.
I'm so proud of you. You're doing a great job. Yes. I understand.
So why don't you tell the people what you've been up to? Creative John.
Me, Rona has came into my life and has done a lot of things. Like it's done a lot of things. I've done a lot of like emotional growing, and as of recent, I lost my job. So I'm like on the I'm gigging now, which is great though, because that's kind of what I wanted to do, and yeah, it's going pretty well. It's going pretty well. I'm enjoying the freedom and just like the whole entrepreneur thing of like making sure you budget and put stuff away for taxes and all that type of stuff. It's going pretty well, and it's just been like a transition period. So that's kind of what I've been doing, and I'm enjoying it so far. I have more time to spend on Lotus Jawns.
Way more time.
I appreciate that. I do feel like Lotus Jawns kind of came into existence in the middle of COVID or towards the juicy
It sure did.
Yeah.
So that part's been great. We've used this quarantine to like be inspired in a different way.
Right.
Yeah, because it's pretty much been, so we've been planning this since the end of last year, but it was kind of like the space that we got this year. I mean, I didn't want people to have to like, lose their lives for it and become sick, but I needed a break from some of that other hustle and bustle. And then we were able to really put some energy into this, some real energy.
Yeah.
And to bring a
I
little
actually
sense of life.
saw in my phone, it was October 9th. Me and you actually, we recorded a video, and it was like, we just had our first Lotus Jawns meeting. It was October 9th.
It was October, I think it was November. So it was exactly a year.
Yeah, so it's been almost exactly a year since like we started the whole idea, and it's cool to see a year later that, you know, we're doing it.
And we added a whole nother John.
Yeah,
another Joan on this Joan.
So whole other John, medical John, what have
What
you
you been
done
up
to other people?
Oh my goodness, since this week or since this COVID?
We can go with this
in general,
we're
whatever you want
overwhelmed
to share.
thinking about COVID this year altogether.
So collectively, my goodness. So can I just say that I personally have not been blessed to have the same break that the rest of the world has had.
We know.
So COVID has been a blessing for some to allow reflection and thought and community, you know, and it's giving you the sense to relax and appreciate and to spend time with those close to you and to, you know, embark upon, you know, your passions and to discover, you know, what was once not discoverable in the back recesses of your mind. Mm-hmm. I can't wholeheartedly say that that's how COVID happened for me, because the beginning of COVID, before things really started, you know, popping off, it's like, you know, there were the whisperings of COVID, you know, and in medicine, usually we hear tinkerings first. It's like, oh, did you hear this such and such was happening in a different county over or a different state over? And then it kind of starts off as a lull and then it explodes into a roar. So for me, it was literally like the week of my birthday. And I was like, generally, I like to go out of the country because nursing is a pretty intense gig. So I usually treat myself for my birthday and go out of the country and like welcome in, you know, my new year with tropical fruits. But I was definitely afraid to leave the country because I heard tinkerings that things might get shut down. So I did leave the state and almost got stuck in California, but I made it back.
Oh, hey Ish.
So, hey Ish. So yeah. So the tricky part with that is as COVID kind of started to explode, you know, I realized that any of my close personal relationships would probably have to go on hold because I became the first line nurse in my job. You know, my floor pretty much got shut down. They canceled all the surgeries. Anything that was non-essential in the hospital, they were kicking people out of the hospital to make room for the surge of COVID. And my job went from a surgical nurse, you know, on a post-op floor to first responding for all COVID cases. So I told my family, I was like, hey, see you next year. You know, I told my close personal friends, see you next year. Anybody who thought that they were going to, you know, have a lunch date with me, you know, that I was spending quality time with. If I thought that I might have been dating, I said, hey, you know, sorry, guy. And I pretty much canceled the majority of my relationships and said that I'll catch you when this is over. Because I felt like if COVID was real and if it had the potential to wipe out, you know, populations as it was being described in the news and amongst the medical department, that I did not want to be responsible for the death and demise of those who I loved. So I said my farewells and I told everybody, you know, when things looked like they were a little bit better, I would come up for air. So, you know, things are looking a little bit better, so I've come up for air. In the course of COVID too, it was like within the first month of COVID, I also jumped back into a master's program. So I was like full-time in school, full-time nursing, full-time COVID.
Did you not feel challenged enough?
No.
Right.
There's never enough challenge in my life, clearly. You know, I enjoy the rush of stress. So yes, that was my COVID experience. You know, it's right now, knock on wood, even though they're talking about a second surge, the numbers in the hospital are reflective. I think last I checked there were less than 30 amongst all 5 hospitals within the system. So
that's good to hear.
Hopefully it stays that way. Because I'm enjoying
So you've been up to saving the world while we were just momming and creating stuff.
I'm like, oh yes, this is great. I'm enjoying the time. Oh, darling.
But I think that it's good though, because as a populace, I think it's giving everybody a chance to reflect on what's important, and what's not important. Those first couple weeks were a little scary, especially with rioting and with just the threat of like illness, and potential demise. I feel like it allowed for real space and reflection, even amongst us as nurses, and looking at families as a whole. It was like, I feel like it allowed people to say wholeheartedly, I'm sorry and I love you in ways that they didn't before, and to kind of work on healing relationships and doing some self healing. So for that reason, thank you, COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that was
I definitely did a lot of self-reflection over COVID. I started journaling more. I started meditating more, and I just felt like I got in tune with like what I actually want. Because I think for a while, you run around so much, you don't really realize what it is that you actually want. You just chasing some idea that you maybe are used to having, but it's like when you get to kind of rewind everything and figure out like, what do I want now that I'm this age and I'm doing this thing right, and what do I want now? So I do think the situation of the world right now for that, like having the chance to be able to do that.
Yeah, it was hella tricky, especially because in the midst of that, the riots were also happening. So I worked like downtown in Philly, and it was like, so you had a mix of COVID and then like this shockwave of activism and anger related to, race, and race and discrimination, and it just kind of like spiraled things in a real way,
We just got a question from Ish. She said it's the count of COVID going down in Philly, Medical John.
The count is going down so far, so far. So far. There's a couple different trackers that are across the city. Thank you for your question, Ish. There are a couple different trackers that are going across the city. One is like on the Citizen app. They've also integrated a lot of like stalking apps within most programs and within phones to kind of see to do some contract tracing to see whether or not you come in contact with a positive. They're also kind of looking at the rate of transmission and like infection. So if, knock on wood, someone over here got COVID, what's the likelihood of them passing it on to someone in their household? And the rate of transmission looks like it is kind of slowed. So in the beginning, it was like if one person in the household had COVID, the likelihood of everybody in their household getting COVID was almost 100. But now the transmission rate seems to be less. So hopefully that's just related to the morph of the disease itself.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
I can stay in the house for another 6 months with them children. Look, I'm running out of ideas. Pinterest, I think I done it all. So if any other mom joins are listening, anybody else has some ideas to keep these children occupied, hit it up, put it up in the chat. Yeah. Leave it somewhere where we Johns can see it because I'm gonna need it.
Yeah, shout out to the mom Johns for
other moms, and the Dilla Johns and the Aunt Johns and all the other guardian Johns and the grandmom Johns. All of the people who are taking care of the children while the parents are, they're caregivers at work. That was a major shift in how things get done.
Yeah, it's definitely been a lot of changes. So we've all been transitioning in our own way into like this new lifestyle. I'm sure the rest of the world has too. We can all.
Is that a pen that you have, Faust?
I'm nervously like going like this.
That's my pen, by the way. I just want to let everyone know that's my pen.
Put the pen down.
Yeah, it's my pen.
Cool. All right, sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure everybody can relate to that.
I guess one aspect that we were gonna talk about within the catch up on everything, is just like the plan in general with the city with like voting, But one thing I kind of wanted to backtrack on is just looking at like politics as a whole. I feel like this year I've been harassed the most about whether or not I'm registered to vote.
Yes.
It's crazy.
But reflecting on just how, going back to COVID, to spin things all the way around, looking at the riots that happened within the country and also looking at COVID as a whole, I feel like, and also taking this healthcare policy class that I just had, it really, it really made me look at just the rage and just like discord between our country as a whole related to just like disparity, you know, be it in economics, healthcare, and the likes, education, even. And historically, you know, we've been encouraged to vote because, you know, they say that our ancestors have fought for the right to do so. But I feel like as an individual, looking at so many aspects of like what is on the line, I guess. Even though I hate the fact that they're harassing me so much via text messages, email, and phone call. Just looking at like how even within healthcare, like the nurse to patient ratios, the amount of money that goes into funding the hospitals, you know, even the rate that nurses or first responders get paid, or the amount of money that's allocated for COVID or a pandemic or emergencies like that. My hospital, all the nurses that work there, we literally got no extra money at all. None of us did.
That was sad.
At all.
Yeah, that's
like,
crazy.
none of that trickled down. It was like a regular day. Even though we were right there on the front lines risking our lives. But ideally, you know, policy and voting and, you know, talking to your representatives on the state and local level and, you know, rallying and talking to those who represent healthcare is supposed to have a trickle down effect to impact the money and resources that go to all of those areas, education, healthcare, you know, and the likes. So, and even, you know, how it impacts the justice system. So it's like, aside from just being completely inundated and harassed by vote, 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 reflecting on the 7 months of this pandemic, almost. Has it been longer than that? I think it's been longer than that. I see why they're harassing me a little bit on voting. You know, I've got like mixed layers of anger related to voting as a whole, but I'm gonna save my position for the end. And just kind of open that up since that was the next catch up on everything piece about voting.
I guess I don't know, my whole thing, I think it's really weird that they harass us. I think it's really strange, and I can understand like a text or phone call or two, but I'm like, I'm getting hit up like 3 times a day. And I remember I talked to somebody, I was like, dude, like, why are you guys calling us so much? And she's like, you know, we're really desperate for people to get out there and vote. And I was like, you know, I understand that you're desperate, but I was like, you shouldn't like put that desperation on other people. Like, that's your problem. That's not my problem. I've been registered to vote since Lord knows when. I've always been registered to vote. And like, I don't need you to hag me every 4 years to like register to vote. Like, I've been doing this for a minute. And
so what you're saying is you have a plan. You don't need to call you all day.
I don't need you calling me all day. Like, it's so annoying.
I did hear that there were some people that found, even though they had been registered for 1,000 years, that all of a sudden they weren't. So
okay, that's new. I didn't hear that.
That's never happened to me. I've always been fine. I don't know, but yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I'm gonna vote early. That's my plan. I'm gonna vote early, and they have like sign-ups at the Leah Core Center on Temple's campus, 7 days a week. I'm not sure of the times. It's like during the day. I think it's for like, they're open for like 7 or 8 hours, and you can go there and vote early if you want. Yeah.
I'm going. This whole thing is never really easy for me. I'm going. I'm gonna leave it at that, yo. I'm going. I read the signs. I saw them. I got all the calls. I see the messages. I'm going.
Yeah.
I just to kind of piggyback off of what you said though, Files, it makes me think of just as a whole, aside from harassing everybody to vote, it just makes me think the fact that most people aren't taught like political science until you've entered into
No.
you know, like you have like one social science class or social studies class maybe in high school, but as far as like your level of political awareness or what your vote actually means and what it actually does, I feel like that's something that should be introduced in school earlier, so that one, there's a feeling and a passion for voting, because ultimately, in some regard, if you hate the system that we currently are, you know, a part of, or those that are, you know,
You're not thrilled about it.
if you're not passionate, if you don't realize that in your lifetime, the people who are currently in charge are going to, you know, die eventually, because most of them are, you know, middle age to elders, they're eventually not going to hold that seat, but you have the ability to replace them with someone better. I feel like that's something that needs to be taught, you know, as well as what your local, you know, state representatives actually do. And also, I was like, as a child, like my grandmother was always harassing, you know, the local representative. She would call like, "Hey, I need you to go, you know, rally for this," or I have concerns about the local school district. She was pretty much like going to his office to a point where they were like really good friends, you know. But I feel like that's something that, as a whole, we don't know, that you can actually contact your local or state rep's office and have them kind of help you navigate through some things that you might have questions. It could be related to like your access to healthcare. It could be related to paying your bills. It could be related to your taxes. You know, it's like calling local 311 here in Philly. Like they work for us. Like we vote them in.
I call 311 all the time. I love calling them.
What are you called? What do you? So you use it.
Just random questions I have, I call them. If it's about like a business license or something to do with the house or anything, I just call them. They know everything.
Adult questions and concerns.
All right, so I guess we can transition into our next segment, which is called
Drum roll.
Adulting.
Those are the best smiles we can get for adulting. Come on, John.
I know.
You all look like this.
Boo adulting.
Yeah.
I mean, some parts about adulting are nice. We can get up and leave and go wherever we want when we want to. Most of the time,
all the time.
All the snacks. I don't take naps all the time.
All the snacks.
So this live, we're going to be talking about budgeting. If you budget, if you don't budget, what you do when you budget. We're going to be talking
about what I do.
Because I feel like budgeting is something that should be taught in high school. I think like sophomore or freshman year of high school, you should be taught how to budget. And that's something I've never learned. I actually didn't learn about like for real budgeting until I went to a financial advisor, and she taught me how to budget. And I was like, this is a lifesaver. What you doing over there, Lee? You trying to
I found this cute necklace over here, and I was like, I wonder how that would look. I thought you guys wouldn't notice, but I'm still listening.
No, we noticed.
A lot. But you said, so the lady, so who was this person that you spoke with that taught you how to budget?
Her name is Lindsay something. Her business is called Budget Babble. And I was actually thinking about asking her to come on this show if she would like. Lindsay, if you're watching, if you would like to come on the show, come on. She taught me how to budget. She sent me this it's like a Google spreadsheet, and you can enter in all your bills, like what's in your account, what you're expecting to get paid, or what you already got paid, your savings. And she already has it like all hooked up, so you just punch your numbers in, and then you see what you're left over with at the end of the week. So you're not thinking like, oh, I got this or I got that, or this I could actually, maybe this week I could actually put away this amount of money because I have a little left over. I don't know, it's really cool. It's just like a spreadsheet, but just she also taught me about like prioritizing, because I think that was something that I wasn't doing right, with prioritizing and like just trying to do everything in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Just writing things down. Like, I think people underestimate that sometimes, writing things down. So, yeah, but let's get into like what we do for budgeting. What Johns, Mom John, Medical John, how y'all be budgeting? What do y'all do?
Well, I don't have any spreadsheets. You know, I'm technologically I got issues, but
We
uh,
helping her, Mom John. We helping her out.
You're
She
growing.
getting better.
I am. I
Getting
am
better.
growing. So I do use the pen and paper technique, or sometimes I use my phone, but I like to use the pen and paper first, and I like kind of like write down like what's going on. I do it monthly. I don't know how to get it. I don't know if it's even appropriate to do it for longer time, like time spans, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I can talk to Lindsay from Budget Babble, but as long as I can see how much money is coming in, pay all the bills, make sure these kids have food, I'm good.
Yeah.
So mine is not as I guess foolproof as yours. Proof is yours, but that's how I keep it straight. If I don't, like you said, you kind of try to do everything in your head. On me, like I like to swipe, and I'll just keep swiping and swiping if I don't have like a plan. Sometimes I have to set boundaries for myself. So that's what I do with the budget. Because I mean, like outside of paying bills and buying food, like we want to have fun too. We want to put some of the money away for a rainy day. Make it go a little further.
Yeah.
So that's why I do the budget. But I do want to speak with this Lindsay or anybody else who knows more about budget, because I feel like
Yeah, shout out to Lindsay over at Budget Babble. You're awesome.
look at the medical John.
So
You be budgeting.
So I have to be honest. I in the course of my adult life, I've like used varied apps, and I think probably the person who I was halfway listening to at one point was like the Budgetista. She's like really popular at a point. I just realized with myself that I don't know. It's like, so one of the apps that I feel like worked really well at one point was I used the Mint app, where I put all of my bills in one location, and that's how I paid them. At some point, when one of my bank accounts was compromised, I stopped kind of trusting those apps to house all of my personal information in my bank accounts. Since then, you just open up more than one bank account and try not to put all of your finances in one location. That was some wise adulting that I learned, because I had one of the accounts compromised, and it took 2.5 weeks for me to get my money back. And I was like, oh no. It happened once again later in my adult life, and I realized that, it helps to have quality friends that also have money in case you got to borrow $20 to put it in your gas tank. But anyway, I realize now, without using the apps or even always jotting things down, I kind of like eyeball most of my things. So I have a general idea about what my paycheck is going to look like, because it's pretty consistent. I work, 3 days
$1 billion hours a week.
Shifts. If I work an extra shift, the number should look like number, comma, blah, blah, blah. So as long as it looks normal, I don't even like count my hours. I work nights, it's too much. If it looks like it's right, I won't say that you should do this. You probably shouldn't. Definitely count your hours. Make sure that you're being paid appropriately. Do not do what the medical John does, because your job will try to skim you. It's a real thing. But do what I say, not what I do, as your parents would say. But one thing that I do first, as far as like my unwritten, unspreadsheeted budget, is I pay my bills first, the most important ones. So I'm definitely paying my car note. I'm definitely paying my rent. I'm definitely paying the electric bill. Those are the things that take priority over fun and excitement. I don't calculate the amount that I put into my gas tank, but I know that that's also a priority. I have to have gas in my car so that I can go to work and so that I can do other things. So those things take precedence over the other things. So if the rent is paid, if the car note is paid, if my car insurance is paid, gas, electric, phone, some things I'll skim on. I might wait and pay the cable bill last. But the things that are going to make sure that I can go to work and come home and sleep, those take priority. You know, as far as extracurriculars and fun, you know, that's secondhand. You know, it's like, do I enjoy shopping at Whole Foods and Wegmans? Absolutely. But if this is, you know, the first paycheck of the month and I've paid my car note, you know, rent and car insurance, and there's this much money left, you know, I'm probably going to wait until my second paycheck to do the other fun things. So my first paycheck of the month is usually bills. That's the first one. Bills, you know, so whatever the whatever that dollar amount is after the bills are paid is either, I usually try to keep it at a number. So if I'm like, I won't go less than $500, I'm just throwing that number out. $500 is a maintained number in my bank account. I won't go less than that. So if all of my bills are paid and all that I have is $500, and that means I'm broke until I get paid again. You know, and that's like my unspoken, unwritten budget. You know, so usually my second paycheck, if all goes right in the world and all of my bills were able to be covered, the majority of the like pressing ones were able to be covered with the first paycheck, then my second paycheck is the less scary bills, which might be my credit card, you know, or the cable bill, you know, or the ones that, you know, if I don't pay it, I won't die or be homeless. But that's
Okay.
my budget.
Well, that's cool. I'm thinking, are there any out of all the stuff that we do for budgeting, are there any tips that you would give these powerful Johns that are watching right now?
Yes.
I would say
budget and self-care, even if it's going to the dollar store and buying $1 nail polish and $1 face mask. Budget and self-care, because you can't go to work if you don't feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. You know, taking that time to, even if it's just I'm gonna spend the extra $2 on my favorite Dove soap pair, and I'm gonna use that this week to, you know, wash my body and feel refreshed. And I'm gonna use this $2 nail polish that's got glitter in it, so that I know that when I do this with my hands, you know, I feel, you know, amazing and sparkly. You know, take some time and budget in your self-care, even if it's $5 at the dollar store.
Yeah,
that I feel like is important.
Yeah, that is important. I was gonna say, just, you know, like, try to start small. Like, you know, try to start, when you create your budget, try to make it as realistic as possible, and just try to stick to it for at least a week. I mean, it needs to stick longer than that. But if you tell yourself, I need to stick to this for the week, it won't seem so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, baby steps.
Yeah, I guess mine would be is prioritizing. Like, prioritize what you have to pay for first, and always over budget. Like, if you like, oh, this bill might be $50, but it might be like $52.60. Just say that the bill is like $55-$60, so that when you're budgeting, you always got a little bit extra left over. That would be my tip. But to touch on what you said, Leek, about budgeting and self-care, we can move into our next segment called
Wait. I think we're getting a message from our producer that we've been talking a long time. We gotta do a commercial.
Oh, yes. Let's do a commercial. So we'll be back in like a few seconds or whatever.
You are above average. You are breathtaking. You are loving. You are beautiful. You are legendary. You are a luxury. You are kingly. You are an artist. You are life. You are amazing. You are captivating. You are
right.
Those
All
commercials are
right, we're
crazy.
back. Hope you guys enjoyed those commercials, little advertisement from the Lotus Jawns. So that takes us into our next segment, which is called Feeling Myself. Got that from our girl B. So this is where we talk about like basically our self-care check-in, because here over at the Lotus Jawns, we believe that self-care comes first, and like when you pour into yourself, you can pour into others and you can help your community, you know, after you take care of your own self. So this is when we do like a little self-care check-in. So we talk about what we've been doing, little tips that we've learned over the past couple of weeks, and we just go into that. So who wants to go first?
Who wants to go first to what? Tell about how we've been up to? And as far as
Like
self-care.
your self-care check-in.
So what I've been doing this week, I actually was trying to do all these other things, all this extra journaling, which has been great because it was one point in time where I was having a really hard time putting pen to paper. I don't know what that was about, but I've been doing like extra journaling, extra like taking walks, just taking some time where I'm actually by myself, some alone time. But here lately, like the one thing that's been taking over is just I've been sleeping in a little bit. Like, 'cause I usually get up earlier just to journal and just, enjoy the silence in the house. And that is amazing because once the children get up, it is very seldomly silent until it's bedtime. But instead of getting up at 5:45, I've been sleeping in to 6:30 a.m.
Good for you.
And it feels amazing. So that's what I've been doing for self-care this week. I was feeling kind of guilty about it on Monday, but I got over it really fast.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've been up to. I try to keep it simple, and prioritize it. I realized for a while, I was momming so hard that I was like I had this idea that I had to put me last, which is being a black mom. A lot of black moms do that. They put themselves last. They feed the children 10 times and, just eat scraps or, like, no, that's not how this works. It's not, I feel like I've been I've been so much better to myself by prioritizing self-care. I've been so much better to my family by making sure I eat. Like I would literally wake up and hit the ground running every day and wonder why I felt like crap before the sun went down. Self-care has been saving lives, okay? Mine and the lives of others.
This is true.
What you been up to, Five?
I've been
How you been feeling yourself lately?
I'm actually, to ride off of what you've been saying, what you were saying, I've been sleeping in. And if you know me, you know I wake up early. I wake up really early.
Before the crash.
The past couple of days, I've been sleeping until like 9 or 10 o'clock. And it feels, I feel like not having to go to work. When I go to bed, I rest like heavier, like not heavier, but I rest like in a deeper sleep because I don't have the anxiety of like having to wake up in the morning. And I'm not like pressured, like you gotta fall asleep in 20 minutes or you're only gonna get 6 hours and 35 minutes of sleep. And I'm like, it's so much chiller to be able to wake up. And I kind of have a routine now. Like I wake up, I eat my breakfast, I listen to a little audio book, I get dressed, then I start my work day. I do a couple hours of like admin work on like Lotus Jawns and my own music stuff. And then I'll like cook lunch because my husband also works from home and he edits a lot. So we'll have a little break in our day and we'll just eat lunch together and talk. And it's really nice to have like a flow. And I'm just realizing the gig in life seems a little bit better for me because I actually get time for myself. And the amount of time that I put in like working a full-time job,
Yeah.
I'm basically doing the same thing, but working for like 2 or 3 hours a week. And I have so much more time to pour into myself and then like meditate and work out. Like I took a walk the other day. I just like, even though I walk a lot at work, but I just took
Yeah.
a random walk. I went to my favorite little, like I went to the crepe truck, you know, where Lotus Jawns are always posting about the crepe truck. And
Maybe we talk about them enough, they'll give us free crepes.
I know, right?
Crepe,
Crepe
crepe, crepe.
truck, shout out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just been really nice to not feel that pressure of having like 10 hours of my day dedicated to someone else's well-being. So that's kind of what I've gotten out of the whole self-care thing, and just pouring time into myself and you know, getting a better understanding of what I want and how I want to live my life, even though it might not be the status quo, I guess.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
So medical join.
So I appreciated all of what you both said because it made me reflect on multiple levels. So, Files, you talked about just having the free space after pouring into other people of like the time to pour into yourself. And I feel like Mom Joan, you said the same thing. You know, it's like
I get that. Yeah.
people in tow. It's like I fed everybody, right? It's like, oops, you know, I forgot myself. I feel like working as a nurse, that's kind of been a common theme. And every couple of years, I felt like I kind of get stuck back into the rut of forgetting to care for my own self. You know, there was a point a couple of years ago where I was like, all right, I had pretty much gotten myself to like working to a point where I was physically sick and thin and tired, and I didn't know why. And I was like, oh, your vitamin D concentration in your body is really low. This is why you feel so achy all the time, you know. And reflecting back on that instance, that's when I said when I had an off day, I was going to make that first day my self-care day. So that's when I would go on Groupon and be like, okay, what's the cheapest deal of something that I can do for myself?
Right.
You know, that's when I was going horseback riding.
I was gonna say, is that how that whole fad came about?
Yes, that was the years of adventure. It was like, all right, what can I do? This like the new and exciting exploration that I'm pouring into my other aspects of myself to kind of reinitiate my other gifts. Because I know as being a nurse, I really enjoy caring for other people. That's like, it's how I get my jollies off. It's like, you have a boo-boo, you need my help. Like, yes, I've helped the world. But, you know, there's often martyrdom in that. You know, it's like, it's okay if I didn't do anything for me, because as long as I've poured into the world, I'm fulfilled. But it's a little toxic, you know? So I feel like pre-COVID, I had said probably in December or January that I felt like this year was going to be the year of Sankofa. You know, Sankofa, the term Sankofa comes from a bird and a Dinkra symbol that pretty much symbolizes return and fetch it, or you look to your past for guidance to drive the future. And I said that like in December, this is going to be the year of Sankofa. And I feel like I started off this year with saying that I was going to heal some pains of my past. And it was like January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. I went and challenged myself to let go of some 10-year-old pain that I had. And I feel like as this year of COVID has progressed, I've also tried to create space for myself to be more vulnerable, you know, to also allow myself space to heal, and to also challenge myself to ask myself questions, because I realized that I'm both sweet and kind to myself, but also very, very critical. So it's like, what? You don't got 3 jobs and you're not in school? You're not tired enough, you know? Like, you know, or like, why are you so tired? You just slept 8 hours and you woke up and you're still tired? Like, what's wrong with you? You need 5 more jobs. Like, I realized that not having that comfortable balance of like pain and exhaustion felt abnormal. You know, so now I'm like, oh, you're tired. Like, maybe you should take a nap. Or, you know, did you eat today? And did you eat anything besides like fruit snacks? You know, and if you didn't, maybe we should take this time and actually pour into yourself. So I've been kind of going on dates with myself and treating myself in a way probably that I haven't. And I feel like that's kind of like my new wave of self-care and feeling myself. It's like literally feeling myself, you know. Who is she? What does she need? How can I make her feel better?
Treating yourself like, well, I heard the saying somewhere before. It probably was in one of my trainings, preschool trainings. Treat yourself like a small child. They're like, well, if you were a small child, you would feed yourself. You would get yourself something to drink. You would take a break if you needed to. You would do something fun if you needed a distraction or you needed to, like a creative outlet. So this week, this is kind of almost like a reset. I don't know about you, but for this week, I start with sleeping extra. Maybe next week I won't sleep as much.
Yes, high five. Yeah. Get that rest. What?
But next week I think I am going to try to get back on my early in the morning self-care thing. I mean, once the kids get up, that's it. It's like it's 3 of them. They all need something. Most of the time, it's not the same exact thing that they all need something different in 3 different directions. So just getting up an hour before them, journaling, drinking my tea uninterrupted. No one can have any. I'm not sharing it. It helps. And then by the time they get up, I've had all this time to myself, and I can be a nice mom and not, scary papa. That was the TV. Okay.
Thanks for that. But yeah, I do remember you saying that in the mornings you would get up early and take time to meditate, to have that extra 5 minutes for yourself.
Yeah. Man, because waking up to all those little people with all those questions, it can be overwhelming. I mean, I love them all. I want to answer them all, but I don't even know which to talk about right now. Like, so I don't want them to have that. Like, I don't want them to start their day like that because then they're cranky. It's like,
just thinking about it, how do you make space aside from getting up early for yourself? Because I know that the bathroom sometimes is sacred space. Your bedroom, depending on if it's nap time or not, may or may not take the space. Like, especially now in the midst of COVID.
Usually it's after. So once my children go to bed, like that's a part. So part of my self-care routine is they have a bedtime. Like I know, some parents have. I mean, I know some parents have a hard time keeping a routine, but for me, to be a good mom, they go to bed at 8 o'clock. Because after that, then I get a minute to decompress. Because we all know parents, we don't get to. Well, people who are parents or have taken care of anyone. Like once I put them in the bed, I have to literally start prepping for tomorrow, and I've been prepping for the week since last week, so it'll run kind of smooth. So I pretty much just carve out a few minutes. I mean, if they're going to bed at 8, if I can just get a few minutes to myself at night to journal or whatever, or watch something I want to watch, which I'm gonna be honest, I can put something on to watch. I usually don't make it. I usually don't know what happened the next day. But at least I attempt
like background movie.
Pretty much, it watches me, but
Yeah.
So with the getting up early, it really helps me. But then I have to go to bed earlier too. So I did set a bedtime routine. I set a bedtime for myself. I have not been sticking to my bedtime, which is part of the reason why I'm sleeping in.
Yeah.
But this week I'm saying it's okay.
It's hard to stick to a bedtime. I feel liberated that I don't have a bedtime anymore. Cause that like going to bed at 8 or 9 o'clock, that was like sickening to my soul a little bit.
I know you grew up to go to sleep at 8 o'clock. It's like you grow up to go back. So now I'm going to bed at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock again. I'm a grown up. I don't want to go to sleep at 8 o'clock.
Like I want to stay up and watch movies and try to watch movies and fall asleep on the couch.
Yeah, I don't have time because I work nights. So it's like I get off work at 7 o'clock in the morning and I go to sleep at 10, and then I get up at 12, and then I go to sleep at 1, and then I get up at 3 or whatever. And then I like reverse my sleep schedule when I'm off. So, in that sense, I have the freedom to do what I want. If I'm tired, I'm like, whatever, it's over now. Take a nap wherever I am. Sleepy time, The only part I think that's difficult, though, with that is because I work nights. When I'm off and I'm up and it's nighttime, there's nobody else up that can, like, stay up with me and talk. Everybody generally, even if you're an adult and you stay up late, the cutoff time for adulting, for most adults, is somewhere between 1 a.m. and 2.
Right.
It's like max adult bedtime. You know, it's like, hey, and I can talk to you until about then, and then everybody's going.
Yeah.
So
Every once in a while, you'll catch me up at like 2:30.
2:30.
Like, I don't usually make it.
Living wild.
Huh?
I said you living wild. 2:30.
Yeah. Right. But I'm guessing we can transition into our next segment because we kind of are already talking about it, so we can just like segue into it. Just about like taking care of ourselves, and one way of taking care of yourself is staying inspired.
There you go.
Staying inspired.
Inspired. That's a song. You should write that down.
So our next segment is called Instant Inspo. And this is where us, the Lotus Jawns, we share some new things that's been inspiring us, because like we have to stay inspired to keep creating and to keep bringing you stuff. And like, that's just kind of like, I feel like inspiration is kind of the hope of life. You know, if you stay inspired, you stay hopeful about your future. And so this is us dropping some of our inspirational jewels on you. I won't go first because I just introduced it.
I guess I'll go first then. So I did talk about in the segments prior that my theme of this year is Sankofa, or return to like learn from the wisdom of your past to move forward. I feel like this week, you know, my quote is definitely learn to care. The amount of things that I've seen at my job this week, this month, just like, or even as a whole, my experiences of nursing, because I've been a nurse for 10 years, and I've seen the good things and the not so good things. In my nursing environments, I've been challenged to speak up and speak out in situations that weren't right, and to pour into, you know, the most vulnerable populations to make sure that I advocate for what it is that they need. Sometimes I've received some pushback. It's like, you know, why are you going above and beyond? You know, the person is too old, or they may not even have a quality of life. Like their family just needs to let them go. You know, and at times, you know, it's hard for me to hear that from people who are also work in this loving, caring environment. So for myself, I'm always challenging myself, learn to care, you know, and, you know, love is an action. So, or you can't teach people how to do it, you know, so I'm always trying to be the shining example of what it actually means to care from the heart and to give back, while also reflecting on the lessons that I've learned. In most recent days, I will say, with the climate, the political climate that's currently happening between the riots and also the not so good things within nursing, because nursing still has its disparities. Like, you know, we're underrepresented as brown people in nursing. And I feel like my drive to continue to go back to school, when I challenge myself, like, do I really want to go through this again? Do I want to continue with my education? Is really trying to navigate what change I'm supposed to create. So what is my legacy, or what is it that I'm supposed to leave here to modify, you know, the things that aren't quite right. So that's like my inspo, you know, like, what am I doing to make things better or different, you know, while also exemplifying what true care and love means, you know, by an example, you know, and reminding myself over and over again, you know, to learn to care and to pour into people despite what, you know, their medical diagnosis might be, despite what their background might be, despite what my colleagues or medical team or whoever might think. It's like, the beginning and the end of the day, you're a person, you're a human, and you deserve the best of me. So that's my inspo.
Very inspiring, Lotus Jawns.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that.
No problem.
I've been I don't know if I have that much self-discipline right now to like, I've been having trouble pulling it from inside here. So I've been kind of like outsourcing. And I've been using one of my books to inspire myself. I've actually had it for a long time. I've attempted to use it twice before now, but this time I had to stick to it and see it through. It's The Magic. I think I told you guys that. It is, and it's kind of like, it's not a workbook, but you use it Um, it's a daily thing. So you read it, you do the whatever they tell you to do at the end, which usually starts with creating a gratitude list. So I read it in the morning before the kids are asleep. So I can start my day off with the attitude of gratitude and kind of like try to carry it throughout the day. Um, that's what's been inspiring me because I mean there are moments where I think about my life and how this year has been going. I'm like, this sucks. But I'm like, you know what? That's not going to get me anywhere. And I can stay in a rut for a long time if I allow myself to. So even if I am feeling like stuck for more than a day or two, when I'm reading it, it reminds me that I have the ability to change how I'm feeling and change things around me. Sometimes I have like a harder time than I'd like to be having. And I just wanted to go away. And even when it doesn't, just everything doesn't magically go back to normal or whatever. I use that book to recenter myself. So I've been using some books. That's one of them. Another, I've also been trying to do some more leisure reading. I kind of got away from that in the last couple of years. I feel like I'm always reading something. Was always reading over something for work, reading something that was for preschoolers or second graders or fifth graders, and that was about it. Like I have a bunch of books. Let's get this straight. I have a bunch of books. I have not been reading them. It's like almost like no time, but I've been making it time for it.
Right.
So it's also been helping me write more. I went through this period where I wasn't writing anything because I wasn't inspired to write anything. It's also helping me write more. So that's what I've been doing to stay inspired. My books and my journaling have been my instant inspo
Yes.
here lately.
We talked about the magic. The author's name is Rhonda Byrne. She also wrote The Secret and The Power. Great author.
Forgot about the power.
Yes.
That's what my inspiration was going to be. I guess like 3 months ago, the Medical John recommended that I read The Secret. Thank you, Medical John, for that book. That book was really awesome. It's called The Secret. What's her name again?
Rhonda Byrne. She's one of my
Rhonda
favorites.
Burns. Yeah, she wrote it just as a way to kind of spread the message that you control your life kind of through your thoughts, and thinking positive thoughts makes a positive life. And I read it a couple of months ago, and it kind of like changed my perspective on how I think in my head. And I also realized that I have to listen to it often, like maybe every couple of months or whatever, because you just need a refresher and another. It's almost like a blast of positivity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a blast of positivity for your soul. You need like a little jolt if you're like feeling bad. And one thing that I really that made me really fall in love with that book was realizing my power of manifesting what life I want. And just knowing that I have like a super powerful power of manifesting what I want, it kind of changed the way I thought about my life. And that's like my little instant inspo is like, if you change your thoughts, you change your mind. If you think positive thoughts, you can have a positive life. There's really no way out of it. So that's my inspo. But I got a lot out of what y'all said by staying inspired and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about like pumping juice into yourself so that you can pump juice into the world.
Pumping juice.
Pumping juice. Pump that juice. All right, so that kind of brings us to the end. Lotus Jawns.
Mm.
We did our first live. Yay for us. Yay.
We did it. 1 whole hour. We did it.
Yeah, so in Lotus Jawn fashion, we would like to we close out with our affirmation that we started out with. So
All right.
I guess let's take in all that goodness that we just gave and breathe it on in
Decompress.
and let it out.
John's ready?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Together, we have the ability to reach the masses.
with a shockwave of information and love.
Your voice is important. Your message is sacred.
I am
a
a powerful joint.
All right, thanks guys.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
tuning
Thank
in.
you.
Remember to like and subscribe, and like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. And
follow
we
us on
are the
Insta.
Lotus Jawns.
Yes, comment below. Let us know what you think.
All right,
Peace,
peace,
Jawns.
guys.
Peace. All right, producer, take us out.
You are above average. You are breathtaking. You are loving. You are beautiful.